Fellow Jews, how do you do? I'd like to introduce Jewish Mom Approved.
Meet Mikey Greenblatt, co-owner of Jewish Vibes on Instagram, actor, paid TikTok creator, writer, comedian, and located in New York City. So I think you kind of beat the whole triple threat thing.
Yeah.
100%.
Once you get to Jewish meme creator, that's the fourth threat that they don't talk about.
There you go. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we reconnected so before thanks to Adam and Rizzle, and I'm so glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So we're going to get into the nitty gritty today. We're going to learn a lot more about you, and we're just going to talk about your experience. So how did you get into comedy?
It honestly just came from a need for attention. I think that's how a lot of comedians start. Like I was in 7th grade. I was suspended. I got suspended for just, making really, from when I look back at it, probably my peak comedic prime was in 7th grade. Like I was just so funny. But I got suspended because it was obviously, annoying to the teachers, and I was interrupting.
It was a problem.
It was a problem. Yeah, it was a problem. And it was solved through beginning to act. So I started doing improv comedy, especially once I got into high school, I started doing theater. And it was just it was a really nice way to channel that need for attention. And I've been doing it ever since. And, that insatiable need for attention has not left me, but it's been channeled properly. So yeah, that's how I got into it.
And so you kind of talked about it, being a theater kid. Explain that part. How long did you do theater? What was the transition from theater to comedy?
Yeah, I started doing theater in high school, and I was doing it in college as well. And I think the transition from theater to comedy kind of came out of necessity of who I am. So I'm an observant Jewish person. I keep Sabbath, I keep kosher, that good stuff that I absolutely love and I think is such a huge part of my life. But I realized that I couldn't really continue down the theater path just because there was so much on the Sabbath. And I didn't want to do like the walking 20 miles to the theater and then, there's a lot of loopholes. Jews are great with loopholes. Baruch Hashem, thank God we're so good with loopholes. But I wanted to see if
this
there was
video has been sponsored by Jewish Loopholes.
Oh yes, everything needs to be sponsored. Also, so I just thought it was important to, I want to get to a place where people can see a Jew could do it, and they don't have to choose between their religion or observance and their passion. So I kind of pivoted from theater to comedy, which is more of a standalone pursuit. I thought I could do it a little better. And I just want a lot of attention is really what I'm getting at here.
So what we got is loopholes and attention. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah. What I wanted people to get from that really meaningful dive into my purpose in life was Jews love loopholes and attention.
Love that for you.
Yeah.
And so I know that from your account, I know that you posted, like, this has happened countless times before, of auditions in that picture. Can you kind of shed light on that, where you're saying, so you kind of stopped performing because you felt this pressure to perform on Shabbat?
Yeah. Well, it was more in the sense, so I constantly get, auditions and things like that are on the Sabbath, and I usually don't apply to those. But once in a while, I had posted this on my Instagram. I actually got a role, and it was, it was a good role, and it shot on the Sabbath. And I wrote back, I can't do it. And it's hard. It's hard. But I think when you have your why and your purpose in life, you could suffer through anyhow, So those aren't my words. That's Viktor Frankl, who's an incredible psychologist. But I firmly believe in that. And it doesn't stop me. It motivates me to continue on this path.
Why Judaism? Just because, you're saying, that's where it's funny, but I know you use it for TikTok as well. Why not try something new? Or do you feel like that's just where it's at? That's what you want to be known for?
I think it's important now. Great question, by the way. I think it's important now there's this need almost for people to hop onto trends and to go viral and to almost give up what they're into for that popularity.
Yeah.
And it's really easy, especially with TikTok, to shift and go from like your niche to broadening your niche, going from like, I only cook about, I don't know, vegetables, to start baking cakes because cakes are trending, even though you care about vegetables a lot. Vegetables are a huge part of your life. Vegetables help you believe in God. I don't know if the analogy still stays, but it's tempting, but I think it's so important. I want people that grew up like me to know that there's a place for them, and that they don't have to go off of their path in order to please the masses, that they could stay on their own path, on their own small path that not a lot of people can relate to, and still find a lot of meaning in that.
So you don't find it like as something that limits you. If anything, it just helps you grow.
No, it absolutely limits me.
Okay.
To be clear, I don't see myself getting past X amount of followers, and I don't expect that either. It is limiting, but it's a lot more gratifying than if I were to, in my mind, give in a sense.
I love that, and that's what makes you happy. You don't care about the extra stuff. You're doing what makes you happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really great to hear, and I hope that there are kids who look at you and are like, I want to be like Mikey.
There's one Hashem, yeah. God's help.
So with the theater too, so I know you have representation. Do you want to kind of talk about what the process has been like for you to do that within this like small box frame too of everything you do? Yeah,
I do. So for all the laymen out there watching this, what Libby means by representation is, an agent or a manager. And I do have a acting agent. And it was interesting getting that, because like with anything, I don't tell people that I keep the Sabbath. If they don't, if they see me face to face, they kind of assume, because I do wear my kippah everywhere. But if it's online, whatever, I don't open with, hey, here are my restrictions, and here's why you shouldn't pick me, because I'm absolutely terrible. So I had this call with I had gotten an agent, and I remember how nervous I was to tell her that I keep the Sabbath. Because from a business perspective, it's a terrible move. And I don't blame any agent that would drop a client, because there's so many auditions on Saturdays, and so much of it takes place over the weekends. And I remember telling her, you're gonna be missing out on a lot of auditions for me. I'm an observant Jew, and I understand if you don't want to have me on your pool of talent. And thank God she was also Jewish, like so many people in this industry. Not observant or anything, but she understood it, and she said, as long as you're okay with missing a significant amount of auditions, then I'm okay with it. So, we've been working together since, and
that's so beautiful to hear.
Yeah, it was one of those times. Like sometimes you just have to go for it. You can't be afraid of who you are, and it was very scary. I felt like I'd worked years to get representation, and I thought, this is it. But I think it's yeah.
Well, okay, so you do these Yeshiva League, videos.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come to be? Would you say those are like your most popular series right now? Oh, Apparel, everyone, ladies and gentlemen.
And alma mater.
Yeah.
Got a nice little shkoya.
Okay, so when can we get them? Where can we get them? How?
If you check out the link in the Jewish content bio, there's the link to the Teespring store. And I worked for a long time on these to like match all the colors and whatnot and get all the yeshivas right. Yeah. So I started doing these Yeshiva League reviews, and I didn't think much of it. It was kind of jokey at first, but then my DMs started blowing up. And
just like they're about to today when we mentioned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a different reason. Hopefully with older applicants. Yeah, my DM started blowing up, and these kids loved it. I mean, again, it comes back to maybe I could have done greatest high schools in New York City or whatever, and that would have been a lot more people. But for these kids to see like someone on media, speaking directly to them is so powerful. And like, obviously it's a jokey thing, just reviewing Yeshiva League schools, but it's amazing, and like it's this amazing form of camaraderie that it's really brought about, and hopefully kids will buy my merchandise as well.
And so with the meme page, what's the story on that? Jewish content.
Ooh,
all,
Jewish content is TikTok. Meme page is Jewish Vibes.
Jewish Vibes, yeah.
And my friend had started it like 6 years ago now, and we went to yeshiva together, and whatever. It was just like a fun outlet for us to do. I kind of just joined on immediately, and we did not. This kind of really started me down the journey, because when we started it, there's in a yeshiva league high school, and a huge one like Frisch, where I went to, there's around 600 kids when I went. Maybe it's more now. And so, we were not thinking that this account would blow up or anything, because first of all, there were 600 kids. They were Orthodox Jews. The amount of them that had Instagram was probably, 20% of that, if that much.
Yeah.
So we start posting these funny memes about like our Jewish high school experience, and within a couple of years we hit like 8,000, which again doesn't sound like a lot at all, but when you factor in the amount of Orthodox Jews
a lot for Instagram.
High schools,
that's a lot for Instagram.
Yeah, it's a lot for Instagram, but it's not like we're doing sports highlights. We're doing like when you go to the rabbi's class and there's no pizza for shear. Like the amount of people that would see that would have no idea what half those words mean.
Yeah.
So it was
not like you have like a little Google Translate.
Yeah, we really need to make a yeshiva lingo Google.
I think that's your next job. I think you need to make a thesaurus specifically for Jew school lingo.
Jew school sounds rough, Libby. That sounds like something public schoolers would say, like, "Oh, you're going to that Jew school, huh?"
The yeshiva league lingo.
Yes, thank you. Yeshiva league sounds more proper.
So, on a more serious note,
yeah,
anti-Semitism is on the rise, and it's very prevalent on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with it? Have you experienced it? What's it been like for you?
I'm going to have a lot of hot takes here. That's okay.
Yeah.
But I don't think everyone will agree with. One, because of the rise of social media, there's been a rise in, and I'm not saying all of it is true, but I think there has been a rise in extremism and victimization. And why? Why extremism and victimization? Because those drive likes, those drive the algorithm. If you post controversial things, you will get more likes, you will get more comments, which drives the algorithm to be viewed more. If you're just posting banal, bland things, you won't get as many likes. So social media has cultivated this generation of extreme people. They don't necessarily believe what they're posting about. When you see all these anti-Semitic rants, racist rants, and anti this, anti that, hateful rants, it's because these kids are seeing that other people that are posting these things are getting likes, they're getting comments, they're getting follows. Right. And it's brought this level of hate. And unfortunately, psychologically speaking, when you start saying things, even if you don't believe them at first, you will slowly come to believe those things. And it's very scary. That being said, I do think there's a level of victimization as well. I think there's this level of, I want to find a way that I'm attacked. And again, this isn't true for everyone. There are definitely people that are getting attacked for who they are, and it's terrible, and I condemn that. But, and I'm speaking as a Jewish creator right now, I get some of these comments, and sometimes you almost have to look for that hatred, and then you post about it. And that leads to this terrible cycle and mental anxiety, when in the real world, there are so many more good people than bad people. But TikTok raises the platform of hate voices, in my opinion. When I go outside and I talk to my neighbors, most of them love Jews. And I wear my kippah everywhere because I think it's such an important point. Like, yes, I am a religious Jew, but I think it's such an important point to not be afraid of that hate. And I don't think there's as much hate as we think that there is.
Yeah.
So to address anti-Semitism on TikTok, it's there, but again, these are just spiteful people trying to get likes. And that's how you have to look at it. And you can't be scared of it.
And do you think it has to do with being anonymous too?
Yes, I think hiding behind a wall, behind the internet, people say whatever.
Yeah.
And in real life, which is so important now because the lines are getting blurred between real life and the internet, real life people are good people for the most part. And if they're not, they just think those crappy things. They don't say it, which is bad, but we're safe.
I think that's so beautiful, like the way you worded all of that. So thank you for sharing that. So we're gonna play a little game. We're gonna
game segment.
Like maybe take a little stretch or whatever. So welcome to What Would Your Mother Do? Cheryl Cohen edition. So it's basically what would you do, but Cheryl Cohen.
Amazing.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you questions as Cheryl, rapid fire, and I want you to answer them to the best of your abilities. Really quick. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. In 3, 2, 1. When your mother asks, why haven't you called your mother today? What do you say?
My phone died.
If your nice Jewish mother doesn't like your friend, what do you do?
My friend died.
When your mom comes home from work and there are dishes in the sink, what do you say?
I break the dishes and it's a robber came.
When your mom says she found you at a stand-up gig, but it's her best friend's daughter's wedding, what do you do?
The gig was super important.
When your mom asks, why haven't you seen her grandchildren recently, what do you tell her?
Wait, what was the question?
Why she hasn't seen your grandchildren recently, what do you tell her?
I said, oh my God, do I have grandchildren? I mean, I know about that one time in college, but I swear.
What did you get your mother for Mother's Day?
A bracelet.
How big a say does your mother have in who you date?
All of it. 100% equity. And stake.
Stunning. Thank you for playing.
Thank you for having me. Jeez. That was quick.
So the next 2 questions are like the final most important questions. They will determine if we can still be friends after this conversation. So
wow.
Definitely pay attention.
Okay.
All right.
I'm nervous.
How Cheryl Cohen is your mother? Give a rating. Decimals are encouraged, but be very specific on why.
All right. My mom is like, honestly, like 0.5 Cheryl Cohen. I know a lot of moms that are Cheryl Cohens. I know moms that are exactly Cheryl Cohen. It's not a hit on Cheryl Cohen, who I think embodies 90% of Jewish motherhood. My mom specifically is just not very much like that. She's super chill. She's not on my ass.
What are you trying to say about me?
She's super chill. She's not on my ass. She's fun to be around.
He's trying to gain extra points, guys.
Yeah. With my mom. I think I'm losing points maybe with Cheryl Cohen, but
well, you know, we'll have to talk. Okay. Yeah. And the last and final question, is a bagel considered a sandwich?
Sheesh!
And then what do you get on your bagel?
Great questions. The questions I was waiting for this whole talk. Are bagels considered sandwiches?
Don't say the wrong answer.
No, because here's what I would put on a sandwich.
Thank you.
Corned beef, pastrami, turkey, like a Hamish, a herring.
And people just shouldn't put that on a bagel, correct?
What?
People just should not put that on a bagel, correct?
No, it doesn't work. The properties of the bagel do not translate into the properties of a sandwich.
Mikey, I knew we were friends.
There we go.
Everyone in the background who's listening, ha, 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 ha. I've been right with every single one so far.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're absolutely right. Keeping
it up. And then, is there anything else you would like to add or anything you want to plug, share?
Guys, there's a lot of hate in this world. Get off of social media. Go for a walk. Find love in everything you do. Life is short, and every day you could either be dying or living. And just love everyone in this crazy world. Just try to do love. On top of just loving everyone and taking life day to day, I think it's super important if we could just get that line up there again about the merch. Judaism is a lot about buying my merchandise at the end of the day. It's one of the 10 commandments. So you should definitely go to the link in the Jewish content bio. Right now you'll see we have Eula Apparel. I've done apparel for every yeshiva league that I've reviewed. And it's super important in a time of hate and anti-Semitism to go out there and buy my merchandise.
It will fix the rise.
I think if you buy my merchandise, it'll fix the rise of anti-Semitism in America. Absolutely. I hope that answers your question about the bagel or sandwich thing.
Well, thank you so much for being here. It was awesome having you.
Mm-hmm.
And we all look forward to potential projects that we're not allowed to speak about yet that you end up doing.
Yes, we all do. Very much so.
All right. Bye, guys. Thanks for a great show.
Bye. Thanks for a great show.
Thanks for watching.
Jewish mom approved.